anybody notice anything different about this number 1 from the ones that we did yesterday?
It's a negative x squared.
Very good. Yeah. So this is going to make a difference when we go to graph it. So we're going to graph it the same. We're going to start out with our formula for finding our axis of symmetry, which is x equals. Yep. And so remember, this is ax squared plus bx plus c. Y equals that. So what's my b on this one? -6. So it's the opposite of -6. What is a on this one? It's a -1. This is a negative here, and that's assumed to be a -1. So then on the top, we would get +6, and the bottom -2, and this would give us a -3. So now we want to find our y value of our vertex. What do we do to find our y value of our vertex? Anais, what do we do? That's right. So we're going to take this -3 and substitute it into our equation here. So that's going to be y equals -3 squared minus 6 times -3 minus 5. So when I was checking students that were doing the problems in class, this is where a lot of them made a mistake. And usually it was how they wrote it down. Okay, so this is a negative out here, and there's a negative there. What do we do first on that? Do we do the exponent, or do we do the, this is like a multiplying by a -1. Do we do the multiplication or the exponent first? Exponent. Order of operations says exponent. So the exponent, that's going to give us a +9. So this would be -9. -6 times -3 would be +18 minus 5. And what does that give us? 4. So our vertex is -3, 4. So let's go ahead and graph that point. -3, 4. And remember, your axis of symmetry, when it's a y equals like that, is going to be a vertical line that goes through that vertex. What is the equation of that axis of symmetry? Yes, x equals -3. Good. She said x equals. And so now I want to make a table. And we have -3, 4. And so we want to pick another point on there. So we want to pick a point close to -3. What did you say, -2? What did you say? 0. Love 0. Why is 0 a good number? Do you want to explain why 0 is a good number to pick? Yeah, it's simple. It's much easier when we go to plug it in. So it won't always fit on the graph, but I know that it's going to fit on this one. So we're going to put in 0 because it's close enough away. It's only 3 away. That's okay. So if it's further than that, it may not fit on the graph. So we have a -0 squared minus 6 times 0 minus 5. And some of you might do that in your head, which that's great. And we get 0 minus 5, or -5. So 0, -5. And then what do we do to find our next point here? You ready to remember?
So you have to go from like the vertex and go the same, so 3 to the left, and then down.
Okay, so we are going to reflect this point over this line, and so I'm going to actually draw how to find those, and I'll erase it. So from the center, it's 1, 2, 3 to the right. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3 to the left. It's reflecting over this axis of symmetry. My point is right here. And then when I make my graph, again, this is curved here. And then my two sides, let me do that again. So my two sides start to go. So here's our graph, and then we want to find the domain and range. So back to domain and range. What domain is X or Y? X. So we're going on the X-axis. What would our domain be here? Negative infinity to positive infinity. These go down, but at the same time they're going out in this direction, down and out in this direction. And so negative infinity to infinity. So interval notation is easiest, so I'm just doing interval notation. And then what about our Y, our range, a hand's width for what the range would be? Yes, Keaton?
Negative infinity 4 and a bracket on 4.
Good. So you always want to start with the smaller, and the smaller would be down on the bottom part for the range. So that's negative infinity, and then this highest value is a 4. And so it is a bracket on the 4 because the 4 is included. So am I coming back to you? Okay, let's move on to the next one. Again, we're going to start with our formula for finding the x value, which is x equals negative b over 2a. Wow, what are b and a? What are b and a?
2
Yep, negative 2 over
a. No,
2a, which is 2 times.
1.
Yes, 1/2. So if you can do that 2 times 1.5 in your head, fantastic. If not, you can do it on the side. This is 2 over 1. Then we multiply straight across. 2 times 1 is 2. 1 times 2 is 2. This gives us 1. So this is negative 2 over 1, which would be negative 2. So our vertex has an x value of negative 2.
What'd you do? What'd you do?
So my x value is negative 2. How do I find the y value? We want to substitute this into our equation here. So we have y equals 1/2 times negative 2 squared plus 2 times negative 2 minus 1. What do we do first here, the exponent or the multiplication? Exponent. So it's 1/2 of negative 2 squared, which is 4. And then 2 times negative 2 would be negative 4 minus 1. So this 4 is a 4 over 1. 1 times 4 is 4. Over 2 times 1 is 2. And that gives us 2 minus 4 minus 1. What does that give us when we simplify? Negative 3. So negative 2, negative 3 is our vertex. Axis of symmetry is going to be a vertical line through that vertex. So what is the equation of the axis of symmetry, Omar? Good. So now we want to find another point on there. Let's make a table. So our vertex is -2, -3. What's a number close to -2? 0. Again, 0's close there, so it's going to work. Stop the missing, please. Thank you. And we get -1. So 0, -1. And again, we want to reflect that point over that line. So, Nicole, tell us how to find the other point. How can you say it so people over here can see here? I can barely even hear it. Good. And so what do you do with the axis of symmetry? Okay, and so we go 2 to the right, so it's going to be 2 to the right. So we're going to go 2 to the left. That's right here. And so then we'll connect. And again, this is curved, and our sides go out. They don't go straight up. So we have our graph. Let's find our domain and range. Domain. Rafael, you know what the domain is?
The domain can be negative infinity.
Yeah, good. And somebody want to do the range. What would the range be on this? So, yeah, -3 to positive infinity. So the bottom y value is going to be a -3, comma, infinity. So we're going lower and then higher. Guys. So -3 to positive infinity. Okay. Any questions on that?